Thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Sorry we're starting a little bit late. Technical difficulties, nothing ever goes according to plan, but we make it work. So thank you all so much for being here today. We're going to have Brett Packer join us on stage, and he's going to be talking about the present as well as the farms. So kind of our theme for the Wild Drop here during your time at convention is past, present, and future. So he's going to talk about the present, and we'll have Ben Riley tomorrow to talk about future. So Brett, thank you so much for coming on. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You get to see a little bit the behind the scenes, but now it'll just sound like every other episode of the podcast. Jacob has an intro, and we're off and running.
Yeah. Before you enjoy Farm Day as part of convention, get a taste for what Young Living Farms and partner farms are up to around the world. On day 2 of our convention live shows, we are focused on the seed to seal standard and helping you make the connection between the oils in your home and the farms where they got their start. Hello and welcome to the Young Living podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is a premium distributor in premium essential oils, and we are also the world leader in producing these wonderful essential oils. Sorry, we have to redo this. Nothing is ever perfect the right time, but Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils. And this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, products and information, lots of little fun facts, and even more. All right. Brett Packer is the executive director of YL Farms and has come on the podcast before all of you today to talk about International Essential Oils Day and to give us some farm updates. And this is the bit of why we are here today. So welcome, Brett. Thank you so much. What's the latest and greatest with the farms? What have you been up to? How's convention been going so far for you?
Well, that gives me a lot to think about. It's always a pleasure, and usually the secret is when I do these podcasts with Jacob, they have to do a lot of edits, but this live format is amazing, so thank you for having me. Being here for the 30-year celebration, I really want to emphasize the celebration part of it. What a journey, what a ride. Jacob, you know better than anyone. And so, Jacob and I started working together 16 years ago, and he was driving a track hoe, shoveling dirt with his dad, and that's the past, but that's where him and I actually started working together. But now to go to the future, if you come to the expo, we have so many exciting things to share, and it's a time you can ask any question you've ever wanted to ask. Pin the farm managers down, see what's happening on each farm, learn about their practices. We have a lot of new events, though, we want to highlight that are happening on all the farms. That's a big part of it, and it ties into kind of the larger theme of our conversation today. So
yeah, the farm area in the expo is absolutely amazing, and you have all the farms there. We also have the only mobile distillery in the world as well that is doing some distillations as well, so that's super exciting to see. With that being said, what has the farm teams been up to? Can you give us a little bit of an update? It might not be little, it might be a big update, but...
Well, one of the things I say, and maybe you heard me say it before, is I never saw Gary look at any job on the farm or any project or product as being complete. It was his mentality of constant improvement. So I love the managers we have now because they're always just refining and making everything better with the regenerative ag practices, with reforestation, and marrying conservation into all of this, but doing agricultural tourism so it's an experience where you can really have these authentic educational experiences. What's been really cool and really new though, and there's a thing on a little display on it, we're building our newest distillery in Okinawa in Japan. And so that's huge because that's the first distillery that's been built since, Gary, wasn't with us anymore. And so for the farm team, and I know for Jacob, it's monumental. I'd put that, on the top of the list.
Yeah, it's in a beautiful area, and it's in this protected national forest, and it's also in what is called a blue zone, where a lot of the people that live in that area, which aren't a lot, but they get to live past 100 years old on average. And so it's an amazing and great place, and my father dreamed of having a farm in Japan as well. And with that being, obviously having that new farm, what's some of the new products that we're getting, not only from Okinawa, but some of the new products that we've introduced recently as well from the farms?
Well, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to talk to Dr. Wu and experience the shell ginger. No? Well, you got to go to the booth. Yeah. So go and experience that. And with the distillery being built, We have an aggressive plan to actually get it into the products, right? And then also in Okinawa, Chris Packer, the executive director of sourcing, has been working with Dr. Wu to find other really exciting essential oils there. And then I love your guys' expedition kit, even though maybe that's, a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Hopefully that's something that we can release. And what Brett is talking about is Chris and I have done these expeditions, and we've traveled to different places that my dad had started going to but was never fully able to finish his expedition. And so we had gone back and kind of retraced his steps and met with some of the same people that he met years and years and years ago. And we actually were able to find a brand new botanical that's never been identified before that Young Living was able to identify and name last year. And so we're hoping we can kind of have a kit put together for you guys of that expedition, kind of to tell about the Young Living story, and that everything that my dad did, we're still continuing to do as well, as far as exploring the world and finding new plants and new botanicals for all of you. So we hope to get that figured out sometime soon. So it's been a little bit tricky, but speaking about the farms as well, we have some very strict standards and protocols as far as what we allow when it comes to our sustainability, our harvesting, and our practices as well. And a lot of people ask, what do we look for when we're looking to purchase a farm or we're looking to partner with a partner farm? What kind of standards do we have? What standards do we keep our farms up to?
Well, it's really special to me because the standards Gary developed starting in St. Mary's, Idaho. One of my favorite things about Young Living is truly it was a farm before it was a corporation. But we apply the standards from our own farms to our partner farms. And that's, even Okinawa is our newest farm. And, it was virgin land. It borders the national park there. But we tested for over 300 different contaminants, whether they're herbicide, pesticide, petrochemical, et cetera. And so, it's comprehensive, no doubt.
Yes, very extensive as well. So the farms and the standards that we have, especially our corporate farms, the partner farms are held up to the exact same standards. And trust me, it's not easy to become a partner with us, especially when it comes to farms. We do some very, very rigorous testing, and I can't begin to tell you the amount of trips that I went on with my father to go look at farmland, and you would fly for hours and drive for hours, meet with people for hours, all to then realize we can't work with them because they were using pesticides in the soil years and years ago, which is still coming up in the tests that we were doing. And a perfect example I have of this was I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and I can't remember where we were. But like I said, we'd have flown for hours, driven for hours, talked to people for hours, looked at the farmland for hours on end. And at the very end, when we got to the distillery and their cookers, my dad asked them what they cleaned it with, and they said bleach. We clean it with bleach. And that was a complete deal breaker for my dad. So everything checked out except that. And I was furious because I'm like, we spent all this time and you said no to them. And my dad said it wouldn't be right. No one else would know, but it would not be the right thing to do. So we also hold ourselves to those standards as well. And that kind of leads me into the next question, which kind of ties into integrity and the honesty. But why is sustainability so important to us and important to a farmer?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And I mean, I've lived it like you have for a long, long time. And trying to find a new way to maybe look at it from a different angle. And, I think of the farms, and we have another presentation we'll give, and hopefully you're all there. But I talk about the farms. Agriculture gets a bad rap, and people say, well, it has all this negative impact, et cetera. But I'd invite you to look at our farms as these micro ecosystems that have a complete net positive impact environmentally and socially on their own boundaries, on their own acres, and far, far, far beyond. And so I want to detail that. And so it goes beyond sustainability, that you actually have this net positive impact. And then, we also get essential oils from these farms. But really the practices turn our farms into massive air filters, massive water filters, habitat for native pollinators, other animals. So it's a really beautiful model, and I hope we're enter a new chapter of Seed to Sill to see it spread in our communities, our backyards, our gardens, forests, et cetera.
And Brett and I are actually part of a presentation tomorrow that you'll see on main stage that talks specifically about Seed to Sill, so stay tuned for all of that.
Yeah.
We talk so much about sustainability, but we also love putting some hard numbers behind when we say the word sustainability. And I know you might not have this number off the top of your head, but what I'm talking about is my dad realized that all the materials and all the resources that we have are not infinite. They're actually very limited, and it's up to us to make sure that whatever we take, we give back to the planet as well. And so for that, my dad always had a saying of, for every acre we take, we plan to plant tenfold. With that being said, do you kind of have an estimate roughly of what we planted and gave back last year, even if it's just one farm specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of them, and it's, it varies year to year, but we have at the expo, we have a QR code and thing about the global reforestation effort we're all part of. And I also want to think every time you buy Hong Kwai oil or Hawaiian sandalwood, Palo Santo, you're actually fueling a global reforestation effort. And we're living in the abundance and the generosity of nature, but we're actually giving way, way, way more back. And so we have a lot of exciting partners here that you can go talk to yourself. But like Tiger Lee is here from the Taiwanese Cooperative Farm. And they harvest the Hong Kwai. It's a really strict harvest method. And they partner with the university and they plant 2,000 Hong Kwai trees every year. That might not sound like a lot, but I was just there on an audit this year. And we hiked way, way up in the mountains in Taiwan, and we saw some of these trees that are almost 3,000 years old. So imagine every one of those 2,000 trees could live 3,000 years. I mean, at Highland Flats, we usually plant close to 300,000 a year. In Ecuador, there's 20,000 Palo Santo. And I mean, we have years, though, that we scale up and scale down for different reasons, but it happens every year. And my favorite part of it is this is an experience you can all have. You could plant a Hong Kwai tree that'll be there in 3,000 years. I mean, talk about giving back.
Yeah, one of the best parts when it comes to any of the farm expeditions that you're able to go on is we always allow you to be part of what we love doing, which is giving back to the planet. So you're able to plant your own little lavender starter, plant your own little sandalwood starter, and we have many people that come back year over year to check on their plant, to give it love, to check in on it and see how it's doing. And it'll be there for many, many generations to come. So, well, with the very last question, do you have any tricks for how we can all help make a difference for a more sustainable planet? And maybe they're not tricks, but they're, just insight, information.
Well, I love Seed to Still because Gary had such a profound love for nature that he married agriculture with nature's sacred systems and cycles. And, we can all do this in our own backyards. We have demonstrations in the expo or exhibits where you can find out how to build your own Monarch way station. And we have Monarch way stations on the Idaho farms at GHQ at Mona. But what if all of us dedicated a portion of our backyard to a Monarch way station? There's really great blends you can buy of cover crop for native pollinators, right? You can plant trees. I mean, you could talk to your own city because there's a registration for Monarch cities too. We're actually the first ever Monarch farm because they had a Monarch city designation. But I really feel like the next phase of Seed to Still and this beautiful model of partnering with nature, it's in new farms that we'll discover together. It's in new partner farms, but it's in your backyard. It's on your property. It's in your garden. It's in your community. It's in your forest. So,
yeah, I just love that we partner and work with nature so perfectly well. Nature is almost perfect in everything that it does, and so we really should learn from it, and we have been learning from it and partner with it and continue to grow with it. So, Brett, thank you so much for your time. For those of you out in the audience and for those of you watching virtually, thank you so much for tuning in as well. I just have a few short announcements, and then we're going to record the outro, so when I do that part, if y'all can be very, very quiet, which you've been doing great at, that'd be great. Those few announcements being that obviously please visit the farm area in the expo. There's so many booths, so many people to talk to, and if you have any other questions in regards to what we talked to today, Brett or anybody else at the farm booths or stations are more than happy to take your questions and answer them to the best of their ability. The second announcement being is that we have the brand new oils and iron section open up in the expo. That's the shirt that I'm wearing today. That is for you guys specifically. Girls, bring your guys if you want as well. We have kits and shirts and all types of merchandise, and it's just a really fun area. So please go check that out after this. And lastly, I'll go ahead and record the outro. Thank you all for tuning into this special live episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can get up. Sorry, it's not perfect, I promise. Remember, you can get caught up on all of our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course our website at www.youngliving.com. And thank you. You can also go back and listen to this episode at while30.while.events. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.